Hey, what's happening, everybody? Pray that you guys are well. Hey, I am off social media for a while because at Love City Church, we are in our 21-day fast. Y'all come on, visit me at Love City Church. We're in our 21-day fast, so I have pulled back from social media for a little while. But I wanted to come on and share this. The Lord impressed upon my heart, and I pray that it helps us as parents as we seek to raise children in this crazy world. So last night, my wife and I were having a conversation with our 17-year-old son, Trey. And we were just initially just kind of shooting the breeze and joking and everything like that, which is what we always do. We love to laugh and joke. And so that's kind of the atmosphere in our home. But we were just talking, and Trey started asking questions. And he asked a really serious question. How can God allow bad things to happen to good people? And how can God, allow all of these things to happen when he loves us the way that he does? And so we had started having conversations about God's sovereignty and everything like that. And then I started to just give him the truth. I said, listen, you got to understand that whatever we experience in this world that is negative, every wrongdoing, every issue, every disease, anything that we can be born with that is not perfect, we have to see that as a byproduct of sin. And that happened, of course, in the Garden of Eden. And so scripture says, as a matter of fact, in Romans, that by one man did sin enter the world, and death by sin. So after that one man committed that sin, every man after him has to now experience death. And so sin is actually the cause of all of the ills that we see in the world today. And so we explained that to him, and I believe he got it, he grasped it. But here's what I want to really hone in on. Parents, I encourage you to create cultures of conversation in your homes. Create space for your children to ask questions, even if you don't know the answers to them, right? Don't feel that pressure. Let them ask the question. I settled within myself a long time ago. Trey was a little boy. That because of the progression of technology and time and the times we live in, that I would likely not be the only big influence in his life. I know I am an influence in his life, but I knew that I would not be the only influence in his life. Matter of fact, I may not be the biggest influence in his life, just because the children go to school with so many different types of children, with so many different backgrounds and walks of life, different sexual orientation, all of these things that we're dealing with in today's world. And so we have to be sure that at home we are cultivating those atmospheres where they can come, they can talk, they can ask questions if they don't know, they can vent without us as parents having to say, okay, don't do this, don't do that. Let's create spaces for our children to simply be our children. How about that? Let's create spaces where our children can come and feel safe. They can say, Mom, Dad, I had this question. Mom and Dad, I've been feeling this way. I've been thinking about this or thinking about that. And I believe that the more that we are intentional about talking to our children, dialoguing with them, having conversations with them, eye level conversations at some point, that we can, number one, influence them in a way that they won't make some decisions that will later on cost them time and money or even their lives. But I believe that this is how we can somewhat safeguard our children from being influenced too much by the world and the things that are happening in the world. Now we know technology is what it is. Information is at their fingertips. And so that's going to breed more and more questions. And so I would rather my son ask me those questions in the comfort of our home than to go out and try to seek out answers and maybe get an answer that is wrong and an answer that means him no good and doesn't give him the correct information for what he's looking for. So I just want to encourage us as parents, create those cultures of conversation. Give your children space to talk. I know if you grew up like me, we weren't allowed to ask many questions. It was pretty much do as I say and shut up, but let's be sure that we are being responsible enough to understand that these children are growing up in different times. And the more that we allow ourselves to meet them where they are, create cultures of conversation in your homes and safe spaces, I believe that can be a major tool that God will use to help safeguard our children and keep them away from a lot of the crazy stuff so they don't have to go through it. All right. So I hope y'all were able to get something from that. Parents, create cultures of conversation. I love y'all. We'll see you next time. Don't forget, y'all keep pushing. Focus forward.